Alright, time for vampires. Start with this big motherfucker. The Annotated Dracula by Bram Stoker. With introduction, notes, and bibliography by Leonard Wolf. I don't think I've ever looked at this. That's pretty cool. I think this is an orgy. I don't think that was part of the original Dracula, but alright. Leonard Wolf was born in Vulcan, Romania, in Transylvania, and is the author of the highly acclaimed A Dream of Dracula. Right there. I'd have to. Which the New York Times called the best so far published. Although, as I recall, it was a. What do they call that? Where you just think of shit at the moment. Stream of consciousness, and a lot of people thought it was a terrible. I mean, a good concept, but not a very good vampire concept because it basically didn't always deal with vampires, but we'll get to that. Alright, what's the next one? Dracula, Spooky Lift, the Flat Book. Written by Keith Faulkner. Illustrated by Jonathan Lambert. Smudge cake mix. Let's see what's under the smudge. Oh, that's spooky. That's fucking tremendously spooky. He leads me to a kitchen lit by airy lantern light, and I get the funny feeling there is something not quite right. I get the funny feeling this book is bullshit. Look at this. Alright, this is for like a 4-year-old. In Search of Dracula. A true history of Dracula and vampire legends. The Mylar jacket doesn't really help, and I'm not reading this small print in semi-darkness. Oh, there's Vlad. Little Vlad. Looks like a Raggedy Ann, honestly. Who are these little fucking werewolves? There's The Dream of Dracula. Maybe I'll take one of these out so it doesn't slam against there the entire time. A Dream of Dracula, In Search of the Living Dead, Leonard Wolf. I was thinking of doing chapters of different books. Oh, look, we got a paper. There was a real Count Dracula, not a good old boy. All right. Or I would read a chapter of a book. And let's see what this one. December 21st. Winter is a good time for drinking the light that shines in happy eyes. I sit on the number 6 bus, a copy of Willa Cather's My Antonia in my lap. All week, San Francisco has been overcast, but the uniformly gray skies have given way each evening to streaked sunsets, and that have about them the same rigid loveliness as those that Willa Cather described. The pale, cold light of the winter sunset. I see why people didn't like this. It's not about vampires. It should only be about vampires, but what do you expect from a guy with a big, bushy mustache? You should expect nothing. Never trust a man with a mustache. Vampires by Jules Taylor. Vampires, Body and Soul. Oh no. Is that Pattinson bastard? Alright. Precautions. Notorious vampires of the past. Countess Elizabeth Bathory. Psychology of the vampire. What vampires regret being written about, most likely. Alright, love it. First bite. The Complete Vampire Lover's Cookbook. This is Bloody Mary aspic and eggs. 1 cup cold water. 1/2 ounce unflavored gelatin. 1 cup boiling tomato juice with no added sugar. 2 cups cold tomato juice with no added sugar. 1 teaspoon soy sauce. I gotta be honest. I'm reconsidering all these 50-cent book purchases. The Vampire book, completely revamped. Get it? Encyclopedia of the Undead. Oh, look. I think if you turn it, look, the little bat flies. How cute. Look at that. That's probably the best part of this fucking book. Let's do that again. Watch the little bat flitter and flutter away. Oh, look at him go. Well, that was interesting enough. That's the best part of this book, guaranteed, even though it's like 8,000 pages. Alright, it's a great book. The fascination with vampires is far from dead. What do we have up here? Piercing Darkness, Undercover with Vampires in America Today. That's really great, Bob. I think this is in the summer of 1996, a young female reporter named Susan Walsh disappeared while writing a story on downtown Manhattan's mysterious vampire underground. Suspicion immediately fell on the bizarre cultists who wore black, painted their faces white, and drank, or claimed to drink, human blood. One of the experts consulted in the search for Susan Walsh was clinical psychologist Catherine Ramsland, who was steeped in the subject as a journalist and best-selling biographer. Susan Walsh was never seen again. Good. And don't miss her. Oh, that's right. That one came from up above. Girls' Night Out. 29 female vampire stories. Let's see who's part of this. Robert Aikman, E.F. Benson, Robert Block, Mary Elizabeth Braddon, Pat Cadigan, Hugh B. Cave, Anne Crawford, F. Marion Crawford, Barb D'Amato, August. What does that say? Debolith, Derleth, Barbara Handley. I tickle the base of his throat, and he throws back his head, face joyous in the mercury-colored cloudlight. Night laughter rises in me, too strong anymore to be contained. It wells through my mouth and fixes on his throat. Laughter hard and sharp as the edge of a champagne glass, wet and bright as a puddle in neon. Sorry for the glare. It's fun, it's wild, it's night-blooming orchid and splashing fountains in the fastest car you've ever been in, speeding along the coast. It's that sounds like the most miserable day of my life. Oh, god damn you. 100 vicious little vampire stories. I think this fucking thing's got to come off here. Let's see what happens here. Let's do this. Man, that makes it even worse. Just shining in my face. Just give up. Just give up. There you go. Look at that. Semi-light. We want light, but not a glare. Hey, motherfucker. There you go. 100 vicious little vampire stories. What is a vampire? Oh, no, there's that glare again. I give up. I honestly just give up. It's just the glare just won't stop. Maybe I'll put him down here. What is a vampire? Evil incarnate? A creature in the Dracula vein, whose gruesome means of sustenance contradicts the norms by which civilized human beings measure what is natural and morally proper? Or is a vampire with his nocturnal habits a potent symbol for humanity's unenlightened superstitions, a counter symbol of the divinity who turned the darkness of the void into light? It sounds like something just to make a buck, quite honestly. Apotrope. Apotropaics? I don't know what that is. The Witness by Mike Ashley. Once again, sleep eluded him. Leah stretched and forced himself out of bed. Oh, it's Lee. Looking blearily out of the window across the acres of fields, it was a dark, overcast day, threatening rain, just as it had all week. He cursed, would the sun never appear to allow to finish his painting? He had only hired the cottage for the week, and at this rate, he was never going to finish his assignment. That's sad. The Vampire. Origins of the vampire, generation of the vampire. The vampire in the ancient civilizations, the vampire in literature. Montague Summers. In all the darkest pages of the malign supernatural, there is no more terrible tradition than that of the vampire, a pariah even among demons. Foul are his ravages, gruesome and seemingly barbaric are the ancient and approved methods by which folks must rid themselves of this hideous pest. Even today, in certain quarters of the world and remote districts of Europe itself, Transylvania, Slavonia, the isles and mountains of Greece, the peasant will take the law into his own hands and utterly destroy the carrion who, as it is yet firmly believed, at night will issue from his unhallowed grave to spread the infection of vampirism throughout the countryside. It's a nice illustration there. I read part of this book, Lust for Blood, the continuing story of vampires. Not for the squeamish. Bestsellers. Olga Gruzit Hoyt. I started reading this book, but I never got very far. Vlad Tepes. Countess Bathory. Let's see what it says. Biting nonfiction about the creatures readers have found irresistible ever since Bram Stoker's Dracula. Authoritative, chilling, and complete. Lust for Blood is a hypnotic, popularly written history of vampires from their most ancient predations all over the world up to and including 20th century cases in America and Europe. Revealing the various forms of vampires and their character, it also spells out the traditional methods men and women have used to protect themselves against the creatures of the night, and how both clergy and laity have worked to destroy them. I have 2 copies of this book. We'll go with the paperback. Medusa's Gaze and Vampire's Bite, The Science of Monsters. This insightful guide to mythic monsters, Matt Kaplan not only tracks the likely ancient origins of terrifying beasts, but predicts how these nightmarish creatures are evolving today and might manifest themselves in our future. They created the Golem, Frankenstein, HAL 9000, Terminator. Mortifying misunderstandings. Right. We'll skip the numerous copies of Dracula that I have by Stoker for Vampire Forensics, Uncovering the Origins of an Enduring Legend. National Geographic. It comes out of the night. Your brain tells you it doesn't really exist. You know it's just a myth. Yet, as it bends over you, the shiver down your spine still lingers after you wake with a start. Why do vampires fascinate us so? From the earliest whispers of eternal evil in ancient Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, vampire tales have flourished through the centuries and around the globe. Fueled by superstition, erotic mystery, fear of disease and death, and the nagging anxiety that demons lurk everywhere. There's also Dark Shadows with Barnabas Collins. I have a couple more down here, but you're not going to see those for a while. The Vampire's Beautiful Daughter. I believe this is like a teen novel. Maybe not. Johnny Raitt thought he had problems adjusting to life in Los Angeles as the teenage son of a best-selling author, but that was before he met Rebecca Tepish, whose father is a vampire. Rebecca must make the choice as to whether she wishes to remain mortal or become a vampire. Complicating this decision is the fact that she's falling in love with Johnny, and that Johnny is responsible for the death of a vampire. Cool. A Clutch of Vampires. Vampires, those horrifying creatures which are neither dead nor alive, date back to primeval times. Today they are in vogue as never before, hovering on movie and TV screen, flying through the pages of short stories, novels, and cartoons, and capturing the imagination of both painter and sculptor. I don't know I've ever seen a sculpted Dracula or vampire ever. Some of the best vampires recorded or invented during the past 2,000 years appear in this new anthology. Do they? The first great vampire in modern literature. Polidori was 21 years old when he composed The Vampire. All right, good. This book, with a very titillating cover, to say the least. The dragon licking this girl's, looks like her butthole, but could be her other meats. This is The Making of a Vampire. Paracelsus Rabbi Lo Saint Germain Dracula by Alexander Sandrea. Originally, I saw this at the Livonia book sale in a special collection room for like $15, and I wanted it, but I was just like, I'm not paying for that. Another Vlad again. And so I waited, and then I finally got it for 50 cents after, I think, 2 years. So I can wait because it's not like I'm going to read the book. Hey, there's Gollum. So this is basically just some Vanity Press. Oh no, don't turn to the side, fucker. Vanity Press book on vampires. And The Science of Vampires. Did we already have a Science of Vampires? No, I guess not. Catherine Ramsland. I think I did. Thought I saw that name. Ramsland, Bland. Why am I making that up? Where did I see this bitch? Is that Vampire Forensics? No, that was Jenkins. No, I seen this Ramalama Ding Dong lady. Where was she? Oh, I think she just made a quote. Alright. Are any vampire myths based on fact? Blood-sucking villain to guilt-ridden loner? What has inspired the redemption of the vampire in fiction and film? What is vampire personality disorder? What causes a physical addiction to another person's blood? Are there any boundaries in the polysexual world of vampires? How could a vampire hide in today's world of advanced forensic science? What happens in the brain of a vampire's victim? I guess you got to read it to find out. True Blood, Drinks, and Bites. I don't believe I read any of the True Blood books, even though I have like 1,000 of them that I used to sell. Maybe not 1,000, but about 20 or 30. True Death, 1 lime wedge, 1.5 ounce silver tequila. Who the fuck is this guy? Do not tell me you put an entire species at risk for a gash in a sundress. What? That's rude. How to be a vampire. I do not remember this one. What the fuck? Don't remember this. I thought it said Amy Grant at first. I know she's a Christian singer, but Amy Gray must be different. No, your vampire is traditional. It's just like a comic book kind of deal. Never underestimate the cleverness of mortals. They are beasts, but deadly ones. Alternative foods, synthetic blood banks. So baby. Basically, this is a pop culture vampire, a fangs-on guide for the newly undead. This is that bullshit book, The Vampire Hunter, which I watched part of that movie and I was just fucking aghast. Wasn't Abe Lincoln running like 60 miles per hour? I was just like, fuck this book. Van Helsing's Night Off. This is just some guy's little comic book. The Wolf Ma'am. The Wolf Man, get it? Ma'am. Van Helsing. I don't know what this means. I don't want to know what this means. I hate comics. Alright. The Ultimate Dracula. Anne Rice, Dan Simmons, Philip Jose Farmer. New stories by some of the world's leading authors. Don't care about that. Get in there. The Girl's Guide to Vampires. All you need to know about the original bad boys. Dracula. Bram Stoker twice allows Dracula to appear during daylight hours. Though his powers are greatly diminished, Whitley Strieber doesn't even go that far with his Immortals and the Hunger. They have no issue whatsoever functioning in daylight, as does Blade, in part due to his hybrid human-vampire disposition. Loving a vampire can suck. This is Dark Shadows, the Salem branch. If you know the show, do not watch the new movie or the newish movie with Johnny Depp because it's a fucking travesty. Dracula, the Undead by Doc Ray Stoker. Who the hell's Doc Ray Stoker? And Ian Holt. He Returns, the first edition of Bram Stoker. So it's an actual relative. I understand. I have a feeling it's not. I'm not even going to look into it. And then I have numerous Draculas, classics. I've listened to the audiobook, but I don't think I've ever finished the book itself. This cover is actually pretty good. Let's go down here. Put this back here. Get in there, fucker. Alright, let's pull up, see what we got. Dracula, go home. Go home, little Dracula. I was new to the town of Hammond. If I hadn't seen Dracula there, I might have had a terrific vacation. But a vampire is something you can live without. What a way to start a summer. Larry Carter was only helping out his Aunt Shirley at the inn for a few weeks, but it was hard to ignore the weird guest in room 13. He never came down the stairs. What did he do? Larry wondered. Fly in and out of his window? He never came down to meals. What did he eat? Blood? Larry was afraid to search for the truth about this stranger. But he was also afraid to ignore him. It was, after all, up to him to protect Aunt Shirley and the guests from a bloodthirsty vampire. When Larry's case leads him to a grave, he is terrified it may be meant for him. I sure and fuck hope it's for him. Oh no, not this book again. I know, though I have 2 copies of this son of a bitch. Get out of my life. Vampire Survival Guide. How to Fight and Win Against the Undead by Scott Bowen. I know this book sucks. Look at this. Vampire Physiology. Transfer the Vampire Virus. Ooper. Vukadlak. Nosferatu. Vampire. They have walked among us for thousands of years. Stories on how to protect yourself or hunt down and destroy the undead have been passed down in hushed whispers throughout the centuries, but these were often old wives' tales, based more on superstition than fact. Now, for the first time, here is a complete vampire fighting guide for the 21st century. We've seen enough. This is Blood and Chrysanthemums, a vampire novel by Nancy Baker. A tantalizing tale of horror infused with the dark luster of Japanese Gothic, certain to leave an indelible mark on the imagination. The Vampire Tapestry by Susie McKee Sharnes. Brilliant, charming anthropologist Dr. Edward Whalen. Oh shit! Almost fell on my chair. That's what I get for talking poorly of the undead and their chroniclers. Dr. Whalen is living one of his lifetimes in the quick-paced, complex world. I don't give a shit. Search of Dracula. Didn't I already see this book? I don't think so. Maybe, yeah. McNally? Is it the same guy? Is this fucking book? Yeah, McNally and Florescu. Yeah, I guess I got a little copy too. What's this from? Mostly books. Where's this from? Till 12 Mall in Pontiac. Mostly books. I'll keep it inside here. Where's this? Jerry's Bookstore, Farmington. Jerry. What else do we got down there? I think it's mostly just... No, that's a dictionary of symbols. Not superstitions. I think these are mostly just... Oh no. They're all falling now. Magic and superstition in Europe. Yeah, these are all just Dark Shadows. The Curse of Collinwood. The Mystery of Collinwood. Barnabas Collins by Marilyn Ross. Barnabas Collins, the 175-year-old vampire who has taken the country by storm, comes alive in this new novel of Gothic suspense. Your blood will grow cold as you read the never-before-told story of the foggy night in 1899. When Barnabas Collins first arrived at Collinwood, you'll chill to the full horror of the real truth about Barnabas, a secret so terrible that it could not be revealed until now. I actually have an old joke book. Oh, there it is right there. Now that I mention it. Barnabas Collins in a funny vein. Hundreds of hilarious vampire jokes about Barnabas Collins, the ghoul who has captured America's heart. Let's read some of these timeless classics. Is Barnabas a gambler? He sure is. He always tells you to put your money where your mouth is. Butcher money? What type of table does Barnabas like to eat off of? He likes to eat off of a lament table. Does Barnabas know Mort? Yes, he has a good friend named Mort. Jew, wary. Oh my god, does Barnabas like jokes? He's just a sucker for a gag or a female gag writer. Does Barnabas eat? Oh, look. I'm not even pointing at the book. Does Barnabas eat oranges? No, but he's very fond of nectarines. Hilarious. Dig the groovy new humor craze that's sweeping the country, inspired by TV's cool ghoul Barnabas Collins, America's favorite pain in the neck.